Okay, so we got, I guess this is everybody. Hey, how's it going, Daniel? Everybody feel free to unmute yourself so we can do some quick hellos. Kaleem, I'm not sure if you are with us, but feel free to turn your video on or unmute yourself if you want to say hello. I think real quick, I mean, we have a couple of new faces here. We'll just do a quick introduction, quick round. So my name is Adam Roberti, the Director of Cortata Projects. Sela, you're next on my screen. I'll hand it off to you.
Hi, I'm Sela. I'm a senior at the University of Miami, and well, I've been involved with the Underwater HOA since January, and I used to be the co-president of the Climate Reality Project at UM. So I've been very involved with climate stuff and a fossil fuel divestment campaign on campus too.
Awesome, thank you. Carl, you want to go?
Yeah, hi everybody. I've been engaged in the group now for, I think it's only my third or fourth meeting, but I met Xavier at the Clio Symposium last year. Just share the same passions and desires to try and do what we can to help this situation. I formed my own company since moving to Miami. It's called Grove Carbon, and it looks at it just focuses individuals and businesses on their carbon footprint to try and offset their emissions against vital important projects that are removing or reducing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. But just appreciate being here and being part of the conversation.
Thank you, Carl.
Thanks.
Daniel?
Hey, y'all. I'm actually just an undergrad in environmental science, and I've transitioned to a technician field, so I've kind of been out of the loop, out of the field for a while, and I started reaching out to my former inner circles that were in environmental and climate and that kind of thing, just to see like where everything is and get reacclimated again. And Sela, it's interesting you said that. I had a couple of friends that were in Climate Reality Project also that were local in South Florida, and they moved to Breckenridge and they were doing work up there. So like,
nice.
It's refreshing hearing about it again.
Well, we're the campus chapter. I know they created a Miami chapter 2 years ago, but I don't know if it survived or not. But there's one in Broward County too, so they may have been there. I don't know.
Well, that's something to look into then. At least I will, maybe.
Yeah, me too. I'm graduating soon. So
Right on.
Are you still in Hollywood, Daniel?
Yes, still in Hollywood, Florida. Hollywood, Florida.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Check out the Broward Climate Reality Project if it's still a thing. That'd be good to know about.
Definitely.
All right, Kaleem, are you with us?
Hey, yeah, I was just in a call, so but I was hearing you all. So I live between Miami and Cambridge, Massachusetts, which is where I am right now. And I volunteer for the New England Aquarium in visitor education. And down in Miami, I am sort of connected with Rescuer Reef and a couple other organizations that you've all mentioned. You know, I'm just sort of plugged in, and I learned about this through Adam's Instagram. So, and Adam, I found you on Instagram through, I don't even know who, but you know, everybody's sort of connected, right? On and trying to stay plugged in. I try Miami Waterkeeper, you know, Debris Free Oceans. It's, you know, the Surf Rider. All of these organizations. I try to stay plugged in. Yeah. So that's a little about me.
Thanks for joining. Glad you could make it.
Me too.
And Jamal, last but not least.
Yeah. Hello, Jamal Wilson. I have been interning with Cortata Projects as a coordinator of Underwater HOA. And I'm also a grad student at the University of Miami's ABBA Center for Ecosystem Science and Policy with the Environment, Culture, and Media program, which is the program that Adam kind of steered me, guided me like a shining light to.
Oh, did we lose Jamal? My light was too bright.
of course.
And can you hear me?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay. And during the day, I'm the marketing coordinator for the business school at University of Miami.
Awesome. All right, well, thank you, Jamal. And extra thanks for all of your work with the Underwater HOA and, helping us pull all of this together. So thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Of course. So anyway, this meeting probably won't, I don't think this will go past 8:30. I want to talk to you guys a bit about this underwater vote campaign. You see my background, and Xavier talked about it for a few minutes at the beginning. It's a campaign that can be largely digital in just that we live in a Zoom world. So if you're Zooming, this is a conversation starter. So feel free to download it off our website and use it as you wish. Past that, the physicality of the project is right now located at UM, and Sela can actually speak to this because she was helping paint underwater vote signs this evening with a number of undergraduates and maybe a couple of graduate students from UM for a big installation that we're going to be doing on campus starting the 12th, and it'll be running for a couple of weeks. So if you're on campus at UM, which I don't know why you would be if you don't go there, if you're not faculty, but you'll see pictures if you're not there of an abundance of these underwater vote signs in one of the central locations on campus. So we're definitely excited to have that there. And then we want, ideally, the people in our group to be able to create these underwater vote signs as well, share them with their friends if they want to. We talked initially a month ago about doing this and kind of doing a guerrilla style, like just put them wherever we can put them. But I didn't realize that when that happened, I talked to Xavier about this afterward. Xavier told me that when people do that, people from the county usually come and just pull those out. And we don't want to work hard on these signs to then have them be lost. So in that sense, we would want it to only go in yards that would actually put up an underwater vote sign. And I think just because Kaleem and Daniel, I don't know, because I believe you two are the newest ones and may not be super familiar, the background of the underwater vote sign is one of Xavier's Antarctic ice paintings. So he created that painting in Antarctica with soil and ice from Antarctica, melted it with dye, and then used that to create the elevation markers that you see in Jamal's background. And those elevation markers ranged from 3 to 14 and were given out all over Pinecrest and put in people's yards to mark the elevation. And it mapped the topography of the community. So as you're driving by, you'd see that it goes up, goes down. And a lot of people didn't necessarily realize that although they lived further from the ocean, they may be more vulnerable to sea level rise because they're at a lower elevation than the people that lived closer to the beach, but on the ridge. So anyway, that was a huge project from Xavier back in 2018, morphing it a little bit into the underwater vote just because of this huge election. The signs that we have and that, like Sela was painting earlier, would still have the elevation Jamal's marker on one side. The other side had some sponsors from 2018, and they're not necessarily affiliated anymore, and we're just painting over those and putting the big vote on it. And Underwater HOA is nonpartisan, so we're not saying, vote Biden or anything like that. More so just have people voting with climate in mind. And if they're doing that at all, I think they're probably going to vote Biden. But that's the idea. I kind of wanted to get your guys' feedback and thoughts on this. If you'd like to participate and get a sign, if you'd like to make your own sign, if you'd like to have multiple to share with people that that's, we only have a month left until the election, so it's not like we have a lot of time. But this is something that we're doing right now and, getting the ball rolling. So if this is something that resonates with you, definitely would want to, hear back. So to anyone who wants to speak to that.
I'm definitely painting my sign in the yard.
It's fun. I did like 20 today. My hands are so white from the paint, but definitely recommend. It's fun to do.
Adam, is it a link to download it for the digital version, or is it just to literally click and save the image?
So when you click on the underwater vote, are you on that page? And I can send the page.
Yeah.
I'll send it in the chat for anybody who
okay.
may not have it. But when you go to that page, then you'll scroll down a little bit and it says Zoom background with a little arrow.
Yeah.
And right there, you can go ahead and click that image and just save as from there, right click and download it.
Okay.
And that's what I have in my background.
Right, got you. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, of course. We have the alternative to what I'm saying, other than taking one of our signs, and I'm happy to facilitate, giving out some signs if you guys wanted them, because we do have, we have a lot. If you wanted to create your own sign, as Xavier mentioned, you could do that. You could go to CVS or, get a poster board and just, Daniel, I know you're handy. I know you can do this with your eyes closed, and just paint it all your own. And it doesn't have to have an elevation marker on the back or anything like that. So you don't necessarily have to come down to Pinecrest if you want to participate in the project. And that being said, we do want it to have a life on social media so that it can spread awareness. And that's where you would plant it in your yard sign, post up with your sign, and throw it on Instagram, throw it on Facebook, letting people know that they should vote. And that's just a way that, and then obviously if you do that, then we would share that on Cortado Projects and try to amplify the message of our group.
Did you also like print out the sign and like laminate it and put it on a stake and print out the vote?
I don't see why not.
It works, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of extra effort, but do it.
And just to clarify, because I am one of the newer members to this whole project, is it like overall, it's just like you said, just vote environmental and like sea level rise and aquatic friendly. Keep that in mind, or is there some greater message behind it, something more technical or specific, or just an general awareness?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So the vote is nonpartisan and basically is what you said. The number is so that if I put that number on my yards in my yard and it's a 6, my neighbor who's in front is also at 6, right? Like they're also going to have the same elevation, and it doesn't matter if they're a Republican or a Democrat. That number there is symbolizing the fact that you both need to prepare for the rising seas, regardless of your political affiliation. So that's in a elevator pitch manner. That's what that's doing. The reason that we're not partisan, the reason that this is a nonpartisan group, is because the Underwater HOA wants to have the ability to be at the table in policy discussions moving forward, and we want to be able to have Harrison maybe joining us. We want to be able to be listened to and not viewed as some extremist, radical, leftist organization. Although the leaders may be very progressive, we want the group to remain, not have any political affiliation. So that's the reasoning behind that.
Or the other side of the sword, there are plenty of moderates and like hybrid people. For instance, right-wingers are actually super environmentally conscious, and those worlds can coexist. Or unexpectedly leftists that are really not environmentally friendly.
And I think, and it's really important for, no matter where you lie on the spectrum, for you to understand that this is a critical issue for us to tackle moving forward, and it's all about planning for that future, as Xavier was talking about earlier. So, I mean, Daniel, you're new, and we've had a number of meetings over the summer and have gotten to this point so far, and we are very much excited to grow this beyond what it is right now. And we used to hold all of our meetings in person, then COVID happened, and then everything kind of went from there. It's made it a little more difficult, more accessible for a lot of people. Like you would not have come down to Pinecrest, so I'm glad, in this sense, it's but the Underwater HOA aims to give people a smack in the sense of urgency, but also hope, because it's an artistic intervention that most are not expecting. And so when, for example, if you were to go up to a person who you don't know whether or not they understand climate change or environmental degradation, sea level rise, you can start talking to them about, how carbon dioxide is at 400 parts per million. Then you can start talking to them about data, but for the most part, that isn't going to effectuate any change. Whereas if you come in from this more creative, emotional, if you will, perspective, or financial, when it comes to property value, then it's
Oh, pretty posters. Oh, numbers. What do these numbers mean? I like the numbers, like the sea level thing. That particularly piqued my interest because that's really like one because it gets people's attention. Like it makes people curious. Like oh, like I see because there's some uniformity in design. So it's like oh, I'm seeing these numbers and they kind of look like it gets people interested. What is this? And I look into it and I'm like wow, that's interesting. I'm really not well versed in Florida. And what you were saying about closer to the ocean. I had a friend that lived in Pinellas County on the Gulf Coast, and they're like 2 miles from the beach, and they're 100% out of the floodplain because they're on such a huge hill, and it's like they're literally an island. Like it would flood, and that one particular house was on an island. It was really interesting. It's that point of elevation.
Yeah, and exactly, and just to your point, like that number 8. If you were walking by and you saw this number 8, you would have no idea what does that even mean? And you may see a wave, and you could guess. But like you said, it piques your interests. You're curious. You're asking questions, and now you're hooked. And so if your friend or family comes over and they see that, you're gonna ask, "What is this doing here? What does that number mean? What's going on?" And now you have a conversation going.
I've actually met a lot of my neighbors. I've lived here. You know, my family's lived in this house for over 30 years, and I've met neighbors I've never met before because of that sign in the front yard.
Right on.
It's really, really awesome.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, do you guys have any other questions at this point? I mean, we don't really have any other actionable steps other than underwater vote for now, and then we have the election obviously coming up shortly. If you would like, I guess what I can say is if you would like to get a sign from us, then you can easily reach out to us and we can coordinate you getting a sign. And you would, because of COVID, we're not hosting a big event where everybody is gonna come together and paint. We're doing it under strict COVID protocols for the university students, and they have to go by every regulation. Xavier is a former lawyer, and he is gonna stay away from any kind of liability. And so last thing that we want is somebody to be coming to paint the sign and they get COVID, right? And so that being said, still happy to make this a reality, but we just have to abide by those rules, unfortunately, for now. All right, well, thank you guys for coming. That's really it. I appreciate you taking the time. There is a vice presidential debate in about a half hour that some of you may be tuning into.
Keep the momentum going. Perfectly timed.
Watch party.
Yeah, we'll hope it goes better than the last one.
It was so sad. Like all my friends in Belgium, they just texted me right after. It was like, what was that? Was that a big joke? Like, how is that even possible?
It was actually a really long
so
Saturday
shameful.
night.
What?
It was actually a long SNL skit.
If you haven't seen already, SNL did come out with like a 12 minute long video of the debate that is worth watching.
Mm-hmm.
So
imagine.
Leave you with that little tidbit. All right. Anyways, thank you guys so much, and hope to see you next month. Feel free to reach out if you want to sign.
Thanks, Evan. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, y'all.
Pleasure, y'all.
Daniel, it was good seeing you again.
Yeah, likewise, man. Just first of many more. Getting back on the radar with everything.
I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, I mean it's been years. So yeah, it's good to see your face.
Likewise.
All right. Later.
Till next time. Night.
Good.